Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. And today guys, here we are, World Cup transfer news, updates for you. But from the World Cup, many stories and not only. And so let's jump into it together, and let me start today with World Cup games, World Cup topics, because from the World Cup there are things happening on the market. As always, it's part of the history of this game. You probably remember James Rodriguez and many others who went to the World Cup shining and then moving to a top club. It's part of this competition. And today we have a few things to say about this, also to bring you behind the scenes of the market, because the name of the day, probably the clear one, is Bouaddi, this super talented midfielder from the Moroccan national team. The first thing we have to say is congratulations to Morocco, because Bouaddi had the possibility to represent also the French national team, but Morocco, with an important work behind the scenes, have been able to get the green light from the player right before the start of the World Cup, and so a very good job by Morocco. Also, the player always wanted to be a Morocco representative, but then it's still important to see the federation pushing and getting things done. So Bouaddi doing fantastic against Brazil on his World Cup debut. Imagine, 18 years old. If you look at the numbers, it's been absolutely unbelievable what he achieved against fantastic legends of the game, like Casemiro, like Fabinho, Lucas Paquetá, and all the others. So Bouaddi, special, fantastic. Lille extended his contract before the World Cup. That was a smart move to be in control of the situation. But it's also true that Lille are, first of all, aware of what's going to happen next. Lille know very well that top clubs will be coming for Bouaddi, because even before the World Cup, some of the biggest clubs in the world started some conversations with his agents. I can tell you that between January and now, for sure, he's been approached by Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain love Bouaddi. At the moment, they are not so busy with midfielders on the market, so that's the point. But Paris Saint-Germain absolutely love Bouaddi, and they've been tracking him for a long time. Then we have to mention also that English clubs started having conversations for Bouaddi. For example, there were direct contacts with Arsenal and direct contacts also with Liverpool. So both clubs had meetings with the agents of the player. But now, shining at the World Cup, one of the best talents around in midfield, I told you so many times here on the channel, is going to be the summer of midfielders. And so imagine with a new face, a new talent, 18 years old, goes to the World Cup, shines against Brazil. Now, probably all the clubs will be jumping on this opportunity. We will see what's going to happen, but for sure, an interesting situation to follow. More to say, World Cup market. Ismail Saibari, what a performance against Brazil, scoring the first goal for Morocco, scoring on his debut in the World Cup. So congratulations to Saibari. And now probably you know why Bayern now want this boy. This was an exclusive bomba a few weeks ago, out of nowhere. Bayern wants Saibari. Many people saying, why going for that player from PSV Eindhoven? Now you know why. Because Saibari is a very good player and Bayern want him. Bayern have an agreement with the player in advanced talks with PSV Eindhoven. There is something to sort on the fee, so Bayern will have now to be fast to close this deal. They are very close. It's just a few details to clarify, but those details are important, and so Bayern have the opportunity to close the deal very soon. The here we go is expected soon, but still this detail to sort. And then Nathaniel Brown, left back, expected to start for the German national team. It's going to be a big day for Germany. Manuel Neuer back to the World Cup and starting. Nathaniel Brown expected to start at left back. And Nathaniel Brown, who was signed by Eintracht Frankfurt for less than 5 million euros, will now be starting at the World Cup. And he's still the other top target for Bayern, very close to joining Bayern. Agreement with the player, very close with Eintracht for 55 million euros. And so Bayern next week hope to advance for Saibari and for Nathaniel Brown, who are faces of this World Cup. As we're talking about left backs, guys, let's continue on these, on several other topics. Keep an eye on Grimaldo. I wanted to say keep an eye on Grimaldo because Grimaldo could leave Bayer Leverkusen this summer. Bayer Leverkusen had many changes this summer, and Grimaldo could be one of the next ones, because Grimaldo has the desire to go back to Spain. Grimaldo would love to have the opportunity to go back to La Liga, or eventually try a new opportunity in a new country after many years at super high level at Bayer Leverkusen. Don't forget, Grimaldo was one of the crucial players for Bayer Leverkusen to win the Bundesliga in that historical season under Xabi Alonso. Now Grimaldo is prepared to try something new. Grimaldo is open to new opportunities, and I think he's going to be one to watch in this summer transfer window, with movements around him already starting. Let's see what happens at Atletico Madrid with Cucurella, with Grimaldo. There could be more clubs, and so for sure an interesting situation to follow for one of the most appreciated left backs in the game. We are talking about left backs, and on left backs I wanted to mention something on Man United, because over the last 2-3 days Manchester United kept the contacts alive and active with those close to Lewis Hall, the left back from Newcastle. Manchester United already made contact a few weeks ago. Manchester United have genuine interest in the player. They really like Lewis Hall, so he's one of the targets. Of course, we know Manchester United are going to be busy with midfielders. That area of the pitch for Man United remains a priority because Ederson is coming, Ederson is done. But then after Ederson, one more midfielder, at least, it could be two, we will see. But one more midfielder will join Manchester United, and then left back remains a position they want to cover. Lewis Hall is a player they really love at Manchester United. Then this depends on Newcastle, because Newcastle's stance is that they already sold Anthony Gordon, and the expectation is for Sandro Tonali to go this summer. So to sell also Lewis Hall could be too much. So it's not going to be easy. Newcastle will not make it easy to sell Lewis Hall. It would take important money, an important transfer fee, and then we know when Newcastle's stance is we don't want to sell the player, it could be complicated. It could take some time. We saw what happened also last summer with Alexander Isak. So for sure a situation to follow, the one on Lewis Hall, with strong interest from Manchester United, but still nothing guaranteed or easy on this one. Many of you asking me, could it be a possibility to see Man United signing both Sandro Tonali and Lewis Hall from Newcastle United? My understanding is no. Manchester United are not going for Sandro Tonali. At this stage, the intention of Manchester United is not to proceed. Manchester United have been interested in Tonali for some time, and he's been on Manchester United shortlist, but now Man United believe that the player is too expensive. Man United believe that going to Newcastle and trying to sign Lewis Hall and Sandro Tonali could probably take over 140 or 50 million euros, too much. And so Manchester United are not in active talks for Sandro Tonali. Again, he's a player they've been scouting and following, but they are not in active talks to sign the Italian midfielder. For Sandro Tonali, get ready. Get ready, because there are movements. Behind the scenes, there are movements. Things are happening around Tonali. And so Tonali could be a name to watch for sure in the next weeks and months. I still expect Tonali to leave Newcastle in this summer transfer window. On these guys, Tonali, Grimaldo, Lewis Hall, Brown, Saibari, Bouaddi, where should he go? Your opinion here in the comments. I wait for you, as every single day, to give your opinion. I'm really curious to see in the comments who is going to pick my followers here on YouTube for this talented midfielder. Guys, let me know your opinion. As always, remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and see you soon, here every single day. Thank you. Ciao.